Autobarn's Great Easter Sale is here. Get a huge 20% off store-wide, plus 25% off Rhino Rack. Online Good Friday, hop in store from Saturday, sale ends Easter Sunday. 3 days only. Exclusions apply. Autobarn.
Top Gear Low Prices.
All right, let's get on to Roger Sutherland. He's on the phone. Morning, my friend. 40-year veteran of frontline Victorian Police, but also, more importantly, 24/7 community for shift workers. He has a website, and we'll talk about that. You know, one of the things, I'm loving working the shift work, Roger, but I did notice the other day, and I'd forgotten, but I wanted to mention this. I got out of the lift and I felt really dizzy and I couldn't figure out why. And then I remembered, oh yeah, shift work. That'd be the reason for that.
Oh, there's an extremely good reason for that. And I think one of the things that we forget too, Phil, is that it becomes our new normal, like that we start to flatline, we go down. And a lot of our nurses, police, our emergency services will relate to this, that you forget what it feels like to actually feel good. And then you have a good day and you think, oh, that's right, I feel fantastic. But you're not really feeling as good as you could. You're actually just a little bit better than what you have been, because we adjust to this new normal, which is bottoming out, isn't it?
Well, it's funny because I was in town with my wife a couple of weeks ago during the day and I thought, something's odd here. What is it? Something just doesn't feel right. And then I realised it was people. There were people walking around. It's the little things like that you completely forget.
Absolutely. And there's that sun thing in the sky as well, which you're not used to seeing either, I guess. So this brings a whole impact on us as well, Phil, because while we're working overnight, like we're very passionate about what we're doing, but we're sitting in a studio there. We've got artificial light over the top of us. You drive home probably, in the wintertime, you drive home in the dark, you drive to work in the dark, you're sleeping during the day. And our body literally is counting on those circadian rhythms being reset. Otherwise, we start to feel, that feeling of jet lag all the time for anyone that's travelled, we know, and it's called social jet lag, for shift workers, and it's really, really has a massive impact on our health.
And it's funny because some days you feel normal, but then other days you can really feel the impact of burnout. And I think burnout is the one thing that you don't realise you've got until it overwhelms you.
Totally. Yeah. Well, see, the impact of this desynchronized circadian rhythm that we have impacts severely on our hormone releases within our body. Our body runs on a 24-hour clock, and whether we're awake during the day, whether we're awake during the night, our body is actually running on a diurnal, which is a daytime circadian rhythm, which runs all the time, releasing those hormones at those times. So when you're exposed to light at night, you confuse your system. When you are awake or trying to sleep during the day and your body is trying to run, like the release of cortisol, the release of melatonin, it all becomes very confusing. This is why a lot of shift workers have massive problems with weight gain. It's so important for us to eat at the right times during that biological daytime as well, to keep that circadian rhythm in sync and get that daylight, that blue sky, which you probably get a bit of in Sydney, probably a bit more than we get down here in Melbourne, but you get that blue sky which tells your body, because through your eyes it is, because your body can't see other than through the eye. And you get that blue light and it goes, oh, okay, so it's now daytime. Right, so we suppress all of our sleep hormones, we wake ourselves up, we get ourselves going. But when we're exposing ourselves to that blue light at night, the body becomes incredibly compromised, not knowing whether it should be awake or whether it should be asleep.
And the other thing that I've noticed, and just thinking about it while you were mentioning that, is that I've noticed my eyesight is actually not as good now as it was before I started doing the shift work. You've just given me the reason for that, because you're basically staring at a blue screen all night.
Well, you are. You're staring at a blue screen. You're staring at screens. You're under artificial light. You've got to remember, we as humans, if you go back to, as we evolved, it was literally just light and dark. And when it got dark, we couldn't do anything at all. So we just slept. And then we would wake up when it got light and we'd go off and we'd hunt and gather. And then we would, bring the food back. As humans now, we have light and food available to us 24/7 all the time. So what we're doing is we're actually forcing our bodies to do things which it is not natural for our body to do it at the time that it's doing it. So our body, even though we are awake, our body shuts down and goes into a rest and digest mode at around about 8, 9 o'clock at night. And then melatonin elevates in our system. So if you're, working overnight and then you start putting highly processed carbohydrates and fats into your system, which is, we crave that glucose because we're looking for energy. Our body is chronically fatigued. It upsets our hunger and satiety hormones. So what we actually do is we crave those, the chips, chocolates, the lollies, damn Jenny and her cake. We have big problems with that. And the nurses can relate because we end up with all of those, the families of patients are bringing into the hospital, chocolates, saying, oh, thanks for looking after Nana, and, it's great, and they bring chocolates in. They never bring a platter of fruit or a handful of nuts in for them, which is what we need to be eating overnight. We don't want to be eating all those highly palatable carbohydrates and fats because our body doesn't metabolize and store nutrients the same overnight as what it does during the day. And this is something that we have to be really aware of as shift workers at night.
The problem is, of course, and I'm not a biscuit eater. I've never eaten biscuits, but we have them in the kitchen. And also I've got into carbonate. I've got some terrible habits that have only come across since I've been doing this. But the other thing is, but it only occurred to me the other day, is you have a completely different relationship with your workplace, because your workplace is somewhere where you go, not just to work, but ostensibly also to be social with other people. And when you don't have that, you don't realize it until down the track. You suddenly go, my emotional relationship with my workplace isn't the same as if I had a 9-to-5 job.
You know what, Phil? That is just such a fantastic observation, because the research actually shows how isolating shift work is. We're at work and they do become our peers, our friends, our confidants, our everything, don't they? Because you go to work and you look forward to it because that's where the stimuli is. Everyone's in the same boat. They're all doing the same thing. We're all trying to, survive as best as we possibly can. And our week is so short when we're out of work that we tend to isolate ourselves. We don't get out. We don't do things because we just don't feel like it. And we do become incredibly depressed, so isolated, it causes us massive problems. The impact of shift work is enormous on people, on their mental health in a big way, not only from that circadian rhythm disruption, but also we couple that with the isolation of, well, yourself, Phil, because you've got to work, you miss out on that family function, going to that football game, going to, it's Jenny's birthday and you want to go to Jenny's birthday and you can't, but your wife's going, the kids are going. It's one of your kids' birthdays, but you've got to work, so you can't be there. This all has a massive impact on our shift working community, causes us massive problems. It really does. And this is where our emergency services and frontline health really suffer.
That's exactly right. Roger, hold on there a minute. We'll continue our chat after this. It's 3:34. 22 minutes to 4. I'm Phil O'Neill. Roger Sutherland's on the phone, a 40-year veteran on the front line of Victorian Police, but also a shift worker. He knows all about shift work. And we have a website that we'll talk about, which has 24/7 community help for shift workers. Do you know that one of the things is that I like about shift work, Roger, is that you can be more productive at night. So you don't have all the other distractions of people around the office as well. So, there are some upsides.
There is massive upsides. What about if you're a gym goer, you can walk into a gym and it's quiet, right? Because it's during the day.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than having to go to a gym between, 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. in the morning before you go to work when everybody's in the gym, or from 5 o'clock at night until 8 o'clock at night when everyone's in the gym. I think the other thing that we love as well is we can make an appointment to see a specialist. And, whenever the receptionist answers, they say, oh, I'm really sorry, I've only really got 11 o'clock on Thursday. I'll take it. They go, oh, really? Because you can make those appointments and you can go. And not only that, but you can get out to the shops and there's no one around. You can get in and out and you can do what you have to do without having to go at the same time as everybody else. And you become smart too, don't you? Because you don't hit the road while the mums are picking their kids up from school or dropping their kids off at school.
The only thing is, of course, I've been missing out on my gym because I haven't got that routine down pat. And so I'm missing out, like where I used to go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, I'm now down to 2. Yep. And it's not just the lack of energy, but it's also just you've got to get yourself organised with your time management. Otherwise, before you know it, you're eating on the run and you're heading into work on the run.
Oh, Phil, this is a fantastic way I help my shift working clients that I actually work with, because I've coached hundreds of shift workers in my time now. And what I actually do in relation to them is one of the most important and the best strategies that we can actually do as a shift worker is to schedule and time block for ourselves. Now, this seems like something that's really simple, but getting a whiteboard and putting a whiteboard up on the wall in your kitchen, family room, somewhere where everybody can see it.
Yep.
And what you do is you write your shifts down on it, first of all. So whatever shift you're going to be working. Now, it's okay for you because you're regular, but I'm talking about nursing staff, police, fire, ambulance, people that are working nights, train drivers, etc., taxi drivers, Uber drivers. If you write your shifts down, what it does is it actually avoids a conversation in the family of people saying, "Oh, Dad, when are you working next?"
Yeah.
It's there on the wall. And then, "Are you going to take me to soccer, or is Mum taking me to soccer training?" "No, I am." You can see it's on the wall there because it's written there, Dad, soccer, Mum, taking Jenny to calisthenics. And, and so it's written out. And then if you look at it too, this takes decision fatigue out, because shift workers, you would notice yourself, you haven't got the energy or the bandwidth to make decisions outside of work. You just can't be bothered because you're so busy. When you're working overnight doing the radio there, you are taking calls, you're thinking all the time what you've got to say, how you've got to say. And by the time you finish, you are decisioned out. You've got no more decisions to make. And decision fatigue is well researched back with people. And we need to really have a look at this decision fatigue with people, because what actually happens is we feel useless and we feel totally inept, but it's actually our brain is literally just burnt out from making decisions. So the way we combat this is we either allocate those decisions to our better half to make those decisions for us, or what we do is we schedule out and we put those things onto our daily planner so that people can see, and you can see, at a time when you're lucid and you made this schedule, you can look at it and go, "Oh, right, I've got Johnny's basketball, I've got Jenny's calisthenics, I've got to go to the gym this day," and you've time blocked it out so it's right there and it's visual for you and everybody else in the household to see as well. Scheduling is a game changer for shift workers.
If people want to find out, you've got a terrific website. Tell everybody about that.
I run a website which is all one word, ahealthyshift.com. And on that website, I've got numerous blogs and resources which are for our shift working community to help our shift workers to thrive and not just survive. My motto is to give people more energy to do the things that they love outside of their shift working life. Because when you've got the energy to do that, you then enjoy more doing the things inside your shift working life. When you're at work, you actually enjoy it more because you've got a work-life balance there. I've also run my own podcast, which is A Healthy Shift as well, where I've got over 240 episodes there now of just espresso episodes of little tips to help shift workers all the way through. And that's on all of the platforms, Apple and Spotify, YouTube, etc. And Phil, if I can, I'm launching my new online community for shift workers as well, because there's so much noise out there for shift workers in the nutrition field as to what to do, when should we eat, when should we not eat, what should we be eating, what's the best diet, what's the best way to exercise, when should we exercise, blah, blah, blah. And what I've done is I've decided after my time in law enforcement, we need a community that people can feel supported in that community. So I've started an online community which is called the Shift Workers Collective. On the top of the website, there's a link that people can go to there and you'll come into that community. I'll be running webinars which are shift work specific. It's only shift workers that will be in there so everyone can support and cheer each other on. Recipes will be shared. I'm offering up my shift work specific recipe books. We'll be running live Q&As, and plus I'll be in the community as well, which will be actually offering up to people to help people with advice on just specific information. It's just a really good support unit, which we all feel so isolated, don't we, Phil? And this is the thing. And it's 24/7 because there's always going to be a shift worker around in that community.
Roger, lovely to talk to you, mate. Thank you so much for that information, and we'll also give you more details about that website again in just a moment. 3:45.
Autobarn's Great Easter Sale is here. Get a huge 20% off store-wide, plus 25% off Rhino Rack. Online Good Friday, hop in store from Saturday, sale ends Easter Sunday. 3 days only. Exclusions apply. Autobarn.
Top Gear Low Prices.
In a world where customer experience drives business success, Salesforce is leading the way with Agentforce. Agentforce powers a 24/7 digital workforce that seamlessly supports your teams to deliver instant, personalised and always-on support, unlocking new capacity, limitless productivity and accelerated growth for all businesses and industries. Welcome to the future of digital labour. Agentforce. It's what AI was meant to be. For more info, visit salesforce.com/agentforce.
Due to popular demand, Inspiring Vacations Tour and Flight Package sale has been extended. Save up to 20% off our favourite tours with expert guides. Hurry, sale must end April 30 or until sold out. Book today at inspiringvacations.com, Australia's leading tour operator.